Okay, so the other day we only built a few pages. That was the login and sign up. So we are going to complete or add some few of those pages and try see what we have. Um, I'll get this one to go live. So we had done the login and sign up fully. So let's just see what we have there. Yes. So the sign up and the login were fully taken care of that day. So I believe today we are going to go to this other page here. Let's work with the contact us. It's slightly the easier one here. Then we shall drop down to, after contact us, we shall go back to the home page. So let's work on the contact us page. And in the contact us page, there is nothing much there, just the header here. And the main content is empty. So we are going to add some content there and see what we will have. Just a few, we are just going to do a form and some links, some. So I'm going to copy the header from the login page. Okay, let me just copy everything from the login page here up to there. It's because they will look more of this or of the same there. So I'll change this one to contact us and also change the login to get started to, I don't know. Yeah. So that's the contact us page. Now it's just to change these fields and make them a really contact us page. So for that, I'm going to change this one from email. No, it's going to remain email. Just copy this, move it upwards. Here I say full name. Change the for to F name and also change the type to text. Get rid of the inputs of type password here. Just paste that one in and change this one to subject. Then change the for to subject. Then the type should be text. And also I want to add in some placeholders today. So placeholder, uh, first name. Under the email, I add a placeholder of email. I think my keyboard is doing that thing. Then under subject, we are going to do a placeholder of subject. If I save, that's what we have so far. Just full name at first name. I need to change this one to full name. Full name like that. Full name, email, subject. The next thing we are going to do is the text. So I'm just going to copy this, paste it there. This is the message. Change the for or the ID to message. And also the placeholder I'm going to do, uh, yes, good evening. Yeah, yeah, I believe that one is in order. So tomorrow we shall have some tests. Yeah. tutaongelea mengi about the test tomorrow when it has been prepared. Yeah. So I've done the message here using a text area. So if you notice, I removed the type from the text area because type text area does not take in any type. It only takes in type text, nothing else. It does not like specify or only take in text or numbers or what. So I have just said let's remove the type. It will take anything. Then and you might notice I closed the text area here at the end like this. When we are doing the normal HTML like this, just writing.html files, usually it's advisable to close your text area like this. But when we'll be using frameworks, we'll be closing our text area like that. Right now, you might notice it's giving us an error. Yeah, so you just need to close it normally, like, but at the midst here, you don't type anything there. Yeah, just leave it blank. So everything is picking up correctly. So changing the login, the button, and to send message. So you could call this one a contact us page, but usually there are more other things to do in contact pages. For example, you will find the emails there, the phone numbers, and some other stuff. So I'm not going to just go through like or delete this page the way it is. I'm just going to add that information right below here, below the send message. And usually I just do a link. So under in the auth card below the form, I will add another div. So I'm going to call this one div dot more contact info, and here I'm going to do a dot contact info. I'm going to just do about 3 of them. Yes. So you know in each of them, okay, there's no need of even doing them that way because I'll copy the first one. I'm going to do an icon, but remember this is for italics. But in this case, I'm using it to hold my icon. I.fa.fa envelope. So that's for the email. And here I'm going to do some p tag. And I'm going to do my email here. That is example at gmail.com. But for this p tag, why do I need a p tag here in the first place? No. Instead of just doing a p tag and I'm aiming at doing an ahref, so let me just work with a href like that. So because it's an email, there are kinds of hrefs that are specific to email and telephone. So I'll just show you the email one. So for the email, you said mail to, then do a colon, the email. So if I save here, you'll notice this. If I click here, it's going to open my email and like try to push me to send an email to this specific email. That's how you do redirects to emails specifically. Then the next one I'm going to do is the phone. So it's FAFF phone I'm a call. Not so sure, I'll check on that. Then here I pass in my phone number. So let's say it's +254 7. That's let's say that is your phone number. Let me space it well. Yeah. So and here in the href you don't do mail to, but here you do tell, specifying the kind of link. So this kind of link email, because it starts with mail to, a colon, and the email. This one is tell, a colon, and the telephone number. So I'm just going to copy the exact thing there and paste here. But in this case, I'm going to just get rid of the spaces because they are not necessary, like that. You might notice here that my email was opened because I triggered it using the mail to sort of function. Colon, the email, tell. So let's see how the tell works. So for the tell, if I come here and I click it's asking me open Zoom. It's because it's like Zoom, it's one that makes calls. But if you don't have Zoom installed, it will just bring a pop-up here and asking you to connect your phone to make the call. But if somebody's on the phone, like is visiting the website from the phone and they click here, it will just open the phone your application, your phone, type pass in the number, and you can just hit call and it goes through. So let's first update the icon. So we'll just go to Font Awesome, Font Awesome, because I'm using Font Awesome icons. And then Font Awesome, I'm going to search for phone. So hit there, it will load this page and search just phone. So it's saying FA, is it? Yeah, FA phone. So I'm going to change this one to phone and let's see whether it will work out. Yeah, it has worked out. So those are the two links. So you can come back and now go to the styling and quickly give them some styles. So copy this, go to our index.css file, scroll to the bottom and add more styles. Do there and say more uh, contact information dot that. Then here I'm going to do some padding just on top and bottom because I don't want it to be much. That 20 pixels. And we have this contact info. So just copy this and come here and do dot contact info. Just change the display to flex and align items at the center. Then just you could do a color here and say I want just a specific color, black, just black color. Then what I'm going to do here is I'm going to no, okay, yeah, just a black color. So the link has not changed to black because they are usually tough to change by just doing that. Then I'm going to select those links, contact info A, I'm going to force the color to black like that. Then I'm going to space the two, the icon and the email or the phone. Because I used here display flex, I can add another property called the gap. So it will add the gap between the two of 20 pixels. Now that's the gap. Then I'm going to get rid of the underline. Then I'll do text decoration, none. So I've gotten rid of the underline. Then what I'm going to do next is if somebody hovers over any of this, they change the color to blue. So I just copy this, paste here, and do on hover, just colon hover. I say the color changes to blue. I'm going to hover here and change this color to something else, not that deep blue, some sort of that, I believe. So if I hover, it shows something. So yes, yes, I'm recording. So that's why it changes the color. Then I'm going to increase this or add some spacing between the two, the email and the phone number or the two contact info. So just on this contact info, add margin bottom of 10 px. So it's going to move it a bit down. Then let's increase the size of these icons. If we go back to our icons, they both have this class FA. So I can target that FA and do something with it. So dot contact info dot FA, that's font awesome. Then I say the size, let's do 22 px and see how they look like. Not responding. I don't know why. Refresh. Then let me do something here to check whether it will work. So I believe they might be having fixed sizes, or for these test sizes I might need to change them using the yes. Let me see whether I can be able to change the size here. So they come actually with some of the classes that you can use. For example, we have FA2XS. So let's use that one to see whether they will change, because ours is not working out. I'll just comment it out and come here to these icons, do FA2, was it XS? Yeah, XS. What we have, actually it has gone down instead of going up. XL, FAXL, let's see, XL. Yes, it has increased somehow better. So I'll just add the same down here, FAXL. Yeah, so let me increase the margin too for each of these contact form to contact info to 20px. Yeah, so if one clicks on this one here, it will direct to the email and let you send an email. If one clicks here, it will call. That's because we added this tel for telephone and mail to for email. Then I believe for the contact us page, it's ready to go. It's ready to rock. Nothing much here. Next, we are going to the, okay, before I go to the home page, any question or something you might need us to recap a bit before we get to the other side? Uh, nope. Okay, so if I share the code, then it means you don't copy my code when you are going through or when you will be doing this uh, project. You don't copy the code. Yeah, yeah, we want to share the video, but he has just requested for the code. If I give you, don't copy, or if you copy, you'll ask questions, so you have to like know. And let's go to the home page. So for the home page, Pia eco blank. So let's add some classes and let it rock up. So we have the main and the page header. I'm just going to copy this up to there. Go to the home page. Where's the home? It's the index.html. Uh, so I had some other main here. I think I was, what is this? Okay, maybe I was, na hii kitu nilikuwa kutoka wapi nikaweka hapa saa ngapi? Nope. Page kwa ni page. That's blank. Okay. Yeah, so it has the navbar only. So I think the only thing I'm going to take is the wrapper class, because I'm going to do a different hero component. As I said here, home, it's going to have some hero component, some cards, two-sided section, some services, some testimonials, and a call to action. That is, we call to action to let people subscribe to our newsletter. So in the main here, just minimize the comment. Okay, let's leave it there. So in the main here, I'm just going to paste in the wrapper and call this one home. Yeah, so our wrapper has been applied well. So we are going to first do some hero components, some large section that is just holding the title, median, yeah, just something small to welcome people to the page. So I'm going to call this one div.hero. I've given it a class of hero. You might decide to give it a different class. And then this I'm going to do a div, another div, and in the div I'm going to do a h1. How can we call our site? I don't know. Let's say my first website. I'll keep it simple, but you might need to do a lot of things here to make it more conspicuous, large, and all that. Um, and here I'm going to do a paragraph. And in the paragraph, I'm just going to do some lorem about 20 characters. So I have just typed in lorem 20. So it's going to type in some lorem characters 20, some lorem 20 characters long. That's what it looks like. My first website, lorem ipsum doll, and like that. So let's go to our index.css and style this hero before we continue down. So I'm going to do home page here, and under here I'm going to do hero, uh, hero section. I'll do that, and dot hero. Under the dot hero, we are going to do this. So just give it some fixed height. I'm going to do a height of 80 vertical height. No, 80 view height. Then I'm going to do display of flex, just for content center, line items center. But you might notice this information somehow is similar to what we had under the page header, this one here. So where it's like we are repeating ourselves. So why will we do that and yet we have almost similar thing? So I'm just going to do a dot page header instead. I'll add it to the hero. Just before the hero, I add the page header like that. It will do that. But we don't want to have this exact styling. So I'm going to the hero and changing a few things instead. So we had the background set here, but here I'm going to get rid of that background and remain with the height. So set the background to none, not none, but rather transparent. So it has gotten rid of the background, but our text is not visible. So dot hero h1. I'm going to change the font size to a very large font size, 100 px. Then the color is going to be the var text, like that. Then the p also, I'm going to change the color. So say hero p. I'm going to change the color to something else. Let's do that color, but reduce some sort of, it's like that. There we go. So this one's lighter than this. Then we had the dot hero. If you can, you may see we have a div here. I want to give it some width so that this text might look like running to, yes. Um, yes, I believe. Okay, so if you may recall when we were doing the footer, the nav and footer, we did use some icons here. So if you go to the first video in that playlist, you might come across this footer. This is the first place we used these icons. Oh, so then let me just quickly explain through. So this is where we first used these icons. And to use Font Awesome is kind of easy and direct. It has no much things to work on. So let me show you. So we did add some link here, a style sheet to be exact, that loads all those icons. This one here. So how do you get this link? Yes, yeah. So how to get the link to those icons? Go to the browser and search font awesome cdn and do the yes cdn.js. If you search that way, it will open this. It will bring you the cdn.js link. So just click on the first link that it brings up. Then you'll be able to see a lot of links here, which are heading to different directions. So you don't have to copy all of them or understand what they do. Just copy this first one here that says all.min.css. Copy it like that. Go to your file. Let me hide that one. Then paste it in your header. So once you have pasted it in your header, you might notice up to this point it looks the same. This one and this one, they look the same. So you don't have to have this integrity property. Just go ahead and delete them up to there. Just delete all other properties, city properties or attributes. Yeah, delete all the other attributes and then remain with the link, rel, style sheet, and that href. That's what we have up to here. So I've taken FontAwesome 6.4.0. You might find yourself with as another version, but they work the same for most of the icons, except some new other icons. So if you copy this link and put it here, then you can be able to use FontAwesome directly in your page by calling such like I, some of its classes. The first one I can say is FA. So if I do FA, that's FontAwesome, then I do FA dash home. If you might guess, this is the home icon. I save the file, go to my browser. Here it is, but it's not visible because of the color. Let me change the color. Let me force the color here. Style color. I do red. So there. So that's the icon I have called there. So if I go here and look at the sizes, we had FA XL. So I'm just going to do 2XL for the home icon. I add another class here, FA-2XL. So if I come to my page here, you might notice this icon is larger now. So FontAwesome will give us access to these icons. And if you want to learn more about those icons, go to the fontawesome.com website. Go to fontawesome.com website, click on icons or just click on search. It will load this search page and you can be able to see different icons. We have Instagram here, phone, TikTok, bus, and if you click on one of them, you can be able to just click on one of them, scroll down, you will be able to see this code here. It says I class FA brands FA Instagram. Just click there, it will just copy. Or if you don't believe it has copied, uh, highlight like that, but it will still just copy because this element is set to, if you click anywhere it just copies. So after you have copied, go to your page where you want to use it, just paste it there. Then you could do different sizes. Instagram is here, it's not visible. Let me change its size and the color. So I'm going to also use the 2XL size and also change the color using inline styling and set this one to inakwanga orange I think. Hapana, si orange. Whichever. So there. So it will also not visible. Which color is visible then? Let's do green. Yeah, there's Instagram. So that's how you use FontAwesome. Just go to FontAwesome site. And also in the FontAwesome website, you can be able to see the docs. Just click on docs. It will take you to this other page of docs. That's the documentation of FontAwesome. And it will ask you use FontAwesome with your preferred stack. So yeah, these are some, but I don't know where we see it. Let me just confirm. Uh, yeah, that's why I never used this one to link the page because its documentation is not that direct. Just use CDN.js to get FontAwesome. Let me share this link too to get these icons. Otherwise, using FontAwesome docs utachanganyikiwa kidogo. Kama hizi zilinishindanga sometime back. You go to their homepage, they might show you something, but literally how to link it to your page, they don't show you directly. They want you to do more. So yes, that's about FontAwesome. So I'm just going to delete my Instagram and delete my home icon because yes, it looks smart there. Yeah, so let's continue this div. I want to give it a fixed width. So dot hero div. If I do a width here, instead of the 100%, I do a 70%. It will like limit the text mahali inaweza fika. Then I want to center this, all this. I have opened Python. It will take its time. So let me change this one to a different color like yellow. I want to center this whole text right here at the center. So what I do and continue doing a few styling here. So we just add align item center because display flex and justify content center was already passed into the first uh, into page header here. It has display flex and the justify content center. The only thing it does not have is the align item center, only that one. So that's what I did add here, align items center, yeah, here, and gave it a fixed height of 80 view height. I'm going to change my color back to transparent. So this one makes my landing page hero look smarter. Then the next thing we are going to do is those cards that I said. Let me exit through these windows. Quit. Uh, okay, yeah. So I believe so far up to this point we are together. How to do the symbol hero component. Usually they are tricky, and others you will see slides and all that stuff. So let's add some cards here why people will like to use our site. Just random cards, 3 of them. So how we add them, I'm going to do them in the wrapper class, div class wrapper, just below the page header or the hero section. And here I'm going to do div dot home row. You might ask me why I've decided to use home row. Uh, Let me just do home grid. So I've decided to use grid display style instead of flex. That's row is for flex and grid is grid. So there's no need of let's remain just grid. So I'm going to do 3 cards. How am I going to do them? So I'm going to do dot grid call. This is a single column of that grid. I'm going to duplicate them 3 times, but before I do that, I'm going to add more elements here. I'm going to do the dot home. My home card, just use dot card. And in the dot card, I'm going to add like h2s. Then h2, I'm going to do maybe we are the best. And under h2, I'm going to do another p. Then the p, I'm going to do some lorem text up to maybe 15 characters long, not so long, like that. Now I have a card. If I save and come to my page, you can see we are the best here and some lorem. I'm going to duplicate this grid call 3 times or 2 more extra times. Paste, paste. Now I have 3 of these columns. So if I minimize, that's the first one, that's the second one, and that's the third one. And they are all in this home grid class. Copy the class of home grid. Oh, this is what we have so far. That, and that. Let me add something on top of each of these cards. That is some sort of icon. So I'm going to do div dot icon here, like that. It's not going to have anything for now, but we shall add it in a moment. And I do it in the first card, like that. So no changes or no difference. What is this exit? So if I come here and do dot home grid, and in this dot home grid, I'm going to set the display to grid, and I'm going to set the template columns or the number of columns that I want. Grid template columns. I only want 3 of them, so I could use auto or do one fraction, one fr for each of those columns. If I do that now, you can be able to notice I have 3 of these columns. If I add another one here, say one FR like this, there are 4. I need to add the 4th card here, but I don't have the 4th card. So you could do something of sort. Was it funny? So I only wanted 3 columns. So display grid template number of columns, 1 FR, 1 FR, 1 FR. Let's try another option here. Instead of doing 1 FR, I do auto. Auto is not picking, so go with the sizes you want. So 1 FR, 1 FR, and 1 FR. So this means they will take a third each. But if you wanted the first one to be larger, just do here 2 FR, and it will be like twice this. That's the fastest way of doing such. Like this is a larger column and the 2 smaller columns. So you could also do this one 2 FR. There is this and this are equal, but the last one is smaller. But that's why I wanted them to be equal. So I'll do a fraction that will add up to that 3. That's 1, 1, 1. So they take an equal size. Then in this home grid, I'm going to add some padding, specifically in the left and right. So I'm going to do just padding inline of 20 px. Let's see what we have. Not much difference. Let me do some background and see why it's not working. Background, not this. Okay, that's what we have. So it has failed to add some padding. Let me do that. Not really working. So sometimes things go apart. So if padding is not working, it's because it's not the right thing to add here. And instead of doing padding, I might be forced to do a gap. Gap, I think has it tried to do something. Yes, gap has added something. So gap 40px sort of working. But I didn't want to add the gap. I just wanted some padding. So I'll come back to it after I've styled these cards. So in each of this grid call, we have cards. So I'm going to select cards, that's in general, do a card, and I'm going to set a background of white and a border radius of 10px. Box shadow will be the last one, so let's do some padding first of 20px. And after that, I'm going to also add, let's see what we have so far. So the cards are like together. So let's do how much is padding. Padding is good for the cards. Next, we had this other icon here, card icon. So I'm going to just specifically select that one, dot card, dot icon. I'm going to give it some fixed width. So width of 20px, something like 40, 50 pixels, and a height of 50 pixels. I'm going also to set a background of white smoke. That's what we have, some sort of icon there. So let's like increase the size. So there are many ways of doing the sizes. You could do like size 50px, but let's say you are using 50px in other place here. The best way is to define some inline or some other variable, call it the card size. Give it that value of 50px, and then instead of just doing 50px here, then you use that variable of card size. This will allow you change this card size at a single or at a specific point, rather than finding it where 50px has been used and changing it there. So if I change here to 70, it will change both the length and the width at the same time, the height and the width at the same time. Then I want to center the icon. So how do I achieve that? So I only come here below the sizes and say margin of auto. So this will look at the margin left and right, top and bottom, and make sure it centers itself. Then we have this text here. Let's also center them. So just card and do text align center. That will center the text that is available in that card. But these cards are like too close together to each other. So how do we like minimize the size of each card? So that's where I come back to the grid here. I tried padding, but padding sounds like not working with the grids. Yes, it does not work with a grid. Then I'll be forced to use a gap. And let's actually specifically use like a call gap. Is that, yeah, that one exists. I do 40 px. So it has given those cards some gap here and here. And we can increase this one to 60 px like that. So the cards are like separated. Then we can do or add more styles, but let me target this text and reduce its size and also change the spacing between these three elements. So we have the dot card. I've already selected the icon. I can just specifically set here the margin bottom of 10 px. That one will move the add some spacing in between the icon and the text. Then I'm also going to select the H2 and the dot card. Actually, the H2 will be enough. And let's say a margin bottom of also 10 pixels. It will move the text down a bit. Then I'm going to select this text and you could select the text, reduce its size, change its color, and all that. Let me add some radius to this icon, border radius of 10 px. Yeah, some radius to that icon. Now, so far everything is looking great. The next, we are going to do the, okay, before I go to that next section, anybody with a question about doing these cards or the grid thing? Okay. Uh, High chances, so I don't know. Let me see. Yes, John. The div icon. This one. Are you asking about this one? Div, and it's empty. Yeah. So I said we were to do this like if you had some icon to do here. Actually, let's put in some icons. So I'm going to copy the home icon from here. It's from there and paste it here. And then in fact, let's use a color that we have. So var dash dash. How will that one? Is it accent? Var dash dash accent. Is it working? Yes. Yeah, the color is fitting. So if you add some icons and you wanted them to be like for your cards, that's how where you put your icons. So I have added the icon for the first div. Let me duplicate the same for the next divs. That one I put the other one there and I also add another. This is just to hold these icons. Let's center these icons to at the center of this specific icon class. So in the icon, we already defined or selected the icon and added some default styling. Then I'm going just to add the rest of the styling to make it or to center everything. I'm going to use display flex, then just the content, the center, and align items at the center like that. So these are going to be centered, and you could usually change like these ones to the titles, they match the titles, but this is dummy data. So, and also you can change the icons. Let's go here and have some other icon to use. So we have house, but I did use home. Let's say we wanted to do anything. Let's actually do just socials. So the first one is Instagram. I copy that one. Let's change the icons to social icons. I'll do that one and quickly move this one down to there like that and delete that one. Let me confirm whether it's working. Yeah, Instagram is here. Let's do Facebook and LinkedIn. Yeah. So since they are just the names of those social media links or social media websites, I can just paste it there and change this one to Facebook and go down and change this one to LinkedIn, Twitter, like that. So they just pick. So if you had some icons, you wanted to do icons, just create an icon class, give it some styling, the size that you want it to be, and add the icon there. You could do icons like I have done, or you could do even images. If you have an image specific you want to add here, just go to the icon. I'm going to comment out this one and do an image here, img, img, which is going to ask for the source. I don't have a specific source right now. Let's quickly go to kind PNG and get some image we want to use specifically. So under kind PNG, I have searched here for mosquito. So why not use a mosquito image? Go there and copy the link specifically for that mosquito. I'm going to copy just the href and copy up to there. Is this one the right PNG? No, that's not the image. The image here is here. It ends with .png, so remember, all images either they have an extension of .png, JPEG, and many other extensions. So paste your image source there. If I save and come back here, this one is taking long to load, and you might notice something funky happening. The image I pasted is too large for that given size. How do you deal with that? So the first thing you wanna do for your icon, you might need to come to your icon here and say overflow hidden to make sure nothing overflows. For example, everything is now normal because you have hidden all the overflow. Then the image still is not the way you wanted it to be. It's still too large. Then just go to the you can select the image from here. Just do that. At the card icon, I select my image and set the max width to 100%. Now my image has been scaled down using the maximum width. The rest of the styling, like center, put the image at the center, is going to work. Yes, somebody with a question? Okay, so that's how you could do an image in your icon. You could use, so the naming here, you could use a different naming or a different class, but usually because it just signifies some sort of icon, I chose to take icon. That is the card. And also we are going to reuse the same cards when we are going to do our services. So it's better to just have them like this. So it will be easier for you to like duplicate the cards to want reuse them down. So that was for this cards they said that we are going to do just random cards. And that's how you design your card. Yes, yes, exactly. Uh, that's why we decided to. Thank you, Robin. So remember to follow through the classes. Wakati mtu anaongea inakuanga easier kuelewa than going following the video back. Unaweza ifollow for that styling ama for that part yenye maybe umesahau, but just be active as Robin has said. Then do a lot of practice. Yeah, so we have done our random cards and our hero. Then the next section we were to do is this two-sided section, an image and some random text. So I'll do here, I say two-sided section. Yes. Ah. So div dot, I said this is a two-sided section, but don't write your classes starting with numbers. So it's better you just say two-sided section. It will be better if you do your classes that way. Don't do with numbers like this, because if you copy this and move it to your CSS and paste it here, you say you want to style it. You see this one is not going to be identified as a class, but it's two minus sided minus section. For all languages that we might be covering, there's no variable that starts with a number. Kabisa kabisa. All you either start with an underscore or a dash or a letter. So don't start your classes with numbers or anything that you are going to do, like functions. Just start with letters to be easier for you to work out, ama utakutana na zile errors zenye hazijulikanangi. So two-sided section. And in this section, I just said we are only going to have a few things. So I'm going to just have the image here. I'll just pass in this image for the mosquito. Where was that? This one. Copy from there to here. Go to my other text here and paste it there. Then the other section will be the section for text. So just do that div. Here I'm going to do h3 and I do some random title here. And below the random title, I'm going to do a p tag and just enough text. So lorem, do lorem 40 characters long and duplicate the same text like that. So if I go to my site here, we have this large image and the text down below here. Okay. So yeah, I think I've put this in the wrong place. Let me move it to the right place. They were supposed to be in the wrapper so that they can be taken care of by this, like this fixed width of the screen. So let me move this one to the right place, copy this, open this and minimize the home grid. Below the home grid, do that. I'm going to move this comment to the right place. It's not happening. What's wrong with this? Okay, there. So this for random cards and this the two-sided section. Now everything is in this given width of the screen. That is the width has been set by the wrapper. Control Shift I, format everything. So for my two-sided section, I'm just going to copy the class and move here and do the dot two-sided section. And in this, I'm also going to use a display of grid like that. And the grid template columns, I'm only going to take two, but one is going to be maybe larger or smaller. I can just do a half, like kila moja ichukue that given width, 50-50%. But this one is not responding because the image is too large and overriding everything. So let's confirm. Two-sided section image div. So I'm going to copy this and select the div like that. And here I'm going to do overflow hidden like that. So you might notice now everything is like, okay, squeezed in together, and the image is like, no, I'm just going to overflow to my own side. Let's like do something else. And then for each of these divs, I'm going to do some padding, uh, 20 px, like that. Let's increase the padding to like 40 px. No, okay. So instead of doing padding for both the divs, I want the image to just take the entire div length or the entire parent length, while the one with the text to have that padding around it, just left and right. So how am I going to select the exact div that I want to add the padding? So the two-sided section, select the div, and I'm going to go with end child. The second child, I'm going to add the padding left and right, so top and bottom just 0, but left and right I'm going to do a padding of 50 px, like that. So that's what has happened. Padding has been added left and right. The first div here, I want to target the image, so copy that, do that. You could do also end child 1 and target the image and say max width 100%. It will still work out, or you can just do like div and target the image and give it the max width of 100. And also you might notice the sections are close together. Let's do some margins for our sections here. So the home grid section, this first section here, home grid, let's add some margin bottom to make sure it's not close to the bottom one. And I'm going to set a margin bottom of 100 px, just a large margin, but it's not too large if you may see. That's the padding I've added. Let's also go to this second section, style the title and style the p tags here. So scroll down, just this second section, copy that class or that selector, do there, hit the H3 and then say the font size. You can set it a larger font size or a font size that you feel that it will be good for you. And also you could decide to do or add a few styles there, say like text, it's text transform, semi-capitalized. That's to capitalize each of the first letter in each word here. So we have that capitalize and we have text uppercase to make each letter go to uppercase. So I'll return it back to capitalize. That's text transform. Then I'm going to add some margin bottom of about 20 px, like that. Then I select the p tags and also gives them some styling. P tags, so instead of S3, select P and I say text align. I'm going to justify first, and margin bottom, I'm going to do like 10 px for each. Now the text has been justified well. Otherwise, if I remove the justified text here, you might notice some text not ending well. If you look at the end here, it's not like really looking great. So that's why we usually use justify to make the text look uniform. So I'm going to uncomment justify that the text is looking uniform down through. Then below this section, you could do a button, maybe if you add some button, or do more text if you wanted to do more text. So I'm just going to duplicate this one once more. I have another paragraph, and that's how they look like. And also here you could do your main points using those icons we did. Yeah, you could do some list like this that has icons behind with some text in front under this section, but it will still look great. After the two-sided section, I'm just going to add some padding or some margin on the bottom, bottom of also 100 px. Yeah, that's about the two-sided section, an image and some text. Any questions so far? Okay, so Okay. Um, since yes, John. Is it John or yes, John? My first div. You see my kindly point the specific. Is it the specific place you want me to see? Near Instagram? Oh, okay. All right. So I'll just minimize. Okay, I'm minimizing everything. I'll minimize the two-sided section. Go back to this section. So we started by doing a home grid. Then we did a grid call here, and in each grid call we added some cards. So in each card, we said it's going to have like three things: the icon, the heading, and the paragraph. So about the icon, we did a div class of icon, and we did an we did the icon here from Fontosam using the FA brands and the FA Instagram class. So these are the two classes that made it possible for us to have Instagram icon appearing. Let me go to the icon and see how I styled it. If I go to the icon, so we go here, dot card. I first selected the card here, then I selected the icon, that is this one here. So card icon, card icon. So in the icon, this is what I did. Yes. So in my page, this, oh, okay, the background color is this white smoke. You might opt here. So this white smoke, I don't know, tuende kwa browser ama kwa HTML? Kwa browser. This one, you see Instagram icon. Behind the Instagram icon, there is this some sort of grayish color. Yeah. And sometimes you might also, yes, okay. So sometimes you might opt not to use the white smoke, but use a color that is similar to the background that you had before. You just go back and like do this. We had this background just like that. So somebody might be like, okay, how did you add the same color there? And it's, yeah, that's how it goes. Just any color will work out. It doesn't have to be this variable color. Even if you were to do red, still it will work. So that was for the icons. If we go back, we also had an image in one of our divs. Instead of using this icon of Twitter, I opted to use an image. Just image tag and the source attribute, then the image link here. So for the image, you have to set its width to 100%. Otherwise, it will overflow or not look good because your size of the icon you've specified is 70 pixels, a fixed size. Sometimes people just do the size for the width and instead of doing for the height, that's how your icon will look like. And instead of doing for the height, they use something called aspect ratio. Is it 1 to 1? Yeah, aspect ratio of 1 to 1. So what aspect ratio of 1 to 1 means, take the size of the given side that you have been given and use it for the other side. If you have been given the size of the width, use the same for the height. If you have been given the height, use the same for the width. That's another way of like avoiding doing height and just setting your width at a single place. So if I change here to 60 pixels, it will just maintain for the height. So that's another way of like I'll just leave this one here and move it down. That's another way of not really like specifying both width and height in a selector. So that was for the icons and the two-sided section. Let's see the next section and how much time we have. 10 minutes to close off. So the next section, this is after the random cards. We had this two-sided section. We were to do some services. So let's do the services section. I hit enter, go back, do services section like that. I do div.services. Then the services, I might be forced to like copy what we had here in our random cards because I don't feel like doing something else. So I'm just going to copy the home grid like that and come here and do paste it like that and close the grid call. And in the grid call we had these cards, so I'm just going to copy the card 2 and paste it here in the grid call. This is a single service. That's what it will look like. Let me do some spacing. So the home grid is the entire row of those services, and this grid call marks a single service from there to here. So let's change the titles. Here I change this one to service 1. So for the services, let's say you want somebody to click on that service and proceed to the next level. What I do, I'll add another button and button below here. So just go below here, do a div, and in the div, do a button dot. We had this subscribe button, subscribe, is it btn, and say uh, uh, just a moment, learn more. Was it? No, that was not. Yes, a question. Yes. Oh, so yeah, let's do that. So instead of doing a button, I'm going to just change the button to a tag, and pass in an href of hash. So let me just copy a random. So if you said, I'll just walk down here, find my account. Not now. Where's my account? My account. So I can't go to my account. So I'm just going to search here Dalmasonto. So sorry, this user profile. Here we go, Dalmas again. Copy that. So I'm going to use it here. Instead of hash, a href, do the href there. So if we come here, you see this learn more, and if I click, it will go to Instagram and open that page. Let's style it and let's make it look like the register button. So how do we quickly get there? So there are buttons that we already styled. That is the buttons we used in the login page. This one, it has a btn subscribe class. So I'm just going to copy the class, come to my index CSS, find my ahref, and change this to the right class. So yeah, the btn is the to btn subscribe. So if I come down here, you might notice the button like there it is, but it's full to the end. One thing I can do is I come to this index.css file and find my card h2. I'm going to copy this because I want to add some margin to the paragraph. I select the paragraph first and also add some margin bottom. It will move, the paragraph will give us some space before the button. Then I also select the button, so card, that's the dot card, then a tag, Instead of, because it's the same, I could do .card A or .card btn subscribe. I've opted to go with A. I say text decoration to none. So this will get rid of that underline, and we have our learn more button looking good. That's for the service, the first service. So what you can do here about services, just duplicate the column the number of times you want. Let's say you have three services. For this specific grid, we only had three columns. So, but if I do service 2 here, I do another service 3 here. So far these are the three services, service 1, service 2, service 3. But let's say you had service 4, I can add another service here like that. You might notice it has automatically gone to the next level or to the next row. That's the good thing with doing grids and like doing display flex. So display grid will allow you have these automatic rows whenever you want with the number of cards you want to be in a specific row. So that's for the services. But you might notice they are too close together. How can we be able to achieve this? So we did a grid or a row gap, a column gap when we were spacing the two or the services. Now what we need to add is just the row gap too. So go to your CSS, go find the grid call or the home grid that this class. We only did the column gap. Now we are going to do the row gap. Rows go downwards, while the columns go eastwards, left, right. If I do that, you might notice now the gap has been added at the row stage. But that this is too large, then we could just do reduce it, and also we can also reduce this one to 40. Yeah, this one kind of looks better. Yeah, so that's the gap for our services. But you might notice our services are not having the title to show their services. And like this section, which might be self-explanatory based on the title, you might go ahead and add a title to your services section. Let's do that. So if I go to services, this is a service. Let me minimize the services individually like that. Minimize and minimize. And on top here, I'm going to do, we did a a H2. So it's best advised that if for a section like this, don't do H2s here in it and do another H2 or a H3 or a younger or a level a level younger heading here. So here I can't do H3 because somehow in semantic HTML you go down the way you want. If it's H1, then go to H2, go to H3. So I can't do here H3 then automatically go back to H2 because this is the heading. It can't be smaller than the subheading. So this they can be on the same level, but for this I'm going to do H2 because I did H2 here. So you might need to change this one to H3 instead. And here I'm going to say services. And under there I'm going to do another paragraph and say Lorem. Just maybe a few words about these services. So that's what we have, services and some paragraph. So let's quickly style them, services H2 and P. So if I come here, go down to the services, I can do services here, services section. So what I'm going to do here is selecting the services section like that and selecting H2. I'm going to set the font size to a larger font size, maybe that's 6px. And I'm going to set the color to that text color we had, that's var text color, that text. Now this is larger and everything here has gone to be large. I only wanted to target this and increase its size, that one alone. So let's say you had this one to 56 instead, everything will be larger. If you don't want to do that, then in your services when you are selecting, you can select this H2 exactly, the first one. You could do something like this, and it will only select this one alone because it's the direct child. So this one means direct child of services. H2 is a direct child of services. That's what you see here. H2 is a direct child of this services class. This H2 is not a direct child of services because it's in another like level. It's not the direct child. That's how we do direct child. We will also do a direct child for P. So that's for this angle bracket here, the closing angle bracket ya kwenye mbele. Then what I do here, I'm going to also do text align at the center, have some margin on the bottom of maybe 20 px. Then I'll also select services and the direct child of services, that's the paragraph, and I say the font size, set it to font size, set it to 14 px, and text align at the center. And also I'm going to add some padding inline, just left and right alone of about 50 pixels. Now, this one has been reduced down below and the spacing between this to this is not really good. So let's also do some margin bottom here. Margin bottom of, let's say 20 px, and here let's reduce from 20 to 14 to look far better that way. Now that marks a title. So sometimes you might see your text like it's too large to be flowing from here to here. How will I be able like split the text to be in the center bit? So we added some padding to the text. That one didn't work well. So the next thing you want to do is just come to your text and look at the place you want to break it and add a break here. This is called a break, a BR tag. This is an inline tag too. So BR, it will break the text at that exact point. So it break the text at starting from rem. That's what we see here. That's how you use breaks. Any questions for the services section? Yes. Good question. Mbona tumeweka services kwa homepage? So yeah. So sometimes you have a lot of services. Let's say 20 services. You are a digital marketing company and you have like close to, let's say 10 services you are offering. You do KRA returns, you do web development, you do some web hosting. The only services that you show here are those services that are like the most ama zile services zenye mnajua they are most selling, and all of the services that you feel like these ones are the ones that we will like to sell the most. Just a single services, then below here you add a button to view all services. So let's add the button. You don't have to do all the 5 services. You can just do 3 of the most services that you offer, then do the rest of the services in the services section. Usually this such a section holds just a number, but and also in the services page you could do a different styling for the services. Instead of just doing cards like this one, you could go ahead and explain the services completely as a two-sided section. You call this as a service 1, you do the complete explanation of the service here, and do another service but change the image to the right, the text to the left. That way you do all the services that way, like they have 2 sections but they are flowing down. Then if I come back here, let me just delete these 2 and add a button to view all the services, and we link that button to the services page. So I'll just go here. This was the first service, first, second, and third. Delete these 2. And I'm not going to do my link up and down because it will fail to work. I'm going to do out here. And this link will be similar to this. So let me just copy the link first. That come below the home grid section because it will also be given its own section or its own column. I don't want it to happen that way. So just go below the grid section, under the grid display or the display flex to use. Do another div, paste your link there. So this one is not going to Instagram, but rather to that specific page of services. Dot forward slash pages, then go to services.html. Instead of learn more, and we can say view all, like that. So that's how it will look like. It's clicking from left to right. You might not need this one happening to you. So the best thing you want to do is style this link to look better. The first thing I can do is this, where you can use now inline styling to specifically do your styling. So say a width of fit content. I just want the width to just fit the content of the button. So just fit view all, that's all. And if this was longer, it will just fit the content. View all services, like that. Then the next thing you might do is go here and say margin auto. Now margin of auto will take care of left and right. It will automatically like put itself at the center. Then the next thing you want to do is just remove this underline. Just inline styling, do text decoration, and set it to none. That's all. Now you have this section and this view all, but you might notice the space here is quite large, which is not a good indication. Somebody might miss this button. So best is to just look into that and make sure this home grid does not have that large margin bottom. So I can come here, go to the home grid where I did my home grid. You might notice I did some margin bottom of 100 pixels. That's too large because we have reused the class somewhere else. I want to remove that margin bottom. How will I achieve that? You don't have to go here and delete it from here because you have reused it. Well, yeah, you don't have to delete it from this particular point where you used it. Just go select the services. Now reselect the class dot home grid, like that, and reset the margin bottom. Now it's like overriding that margin bottom for this particular kind of alignment. The home grid in services, remove the margin bottom or set it to a different value which is smaller, maybe 20px. So that one is going to reduce the margin bottom specifically for this home grid, and it's not going to affect this other grid on top here. It's only going to affect the grid that's under services. Yeah, so that's for the services section. Any question how we did that one? Okay. Uh, any question? Okay. If there's no question, then I'll say for this part we end it here today, because if I add more, then there will be more notes to go through. Let's just say today we covered how to do some symbol hero component and also how to use icons. I can say we just reviewed how to use icons from Font Awesome and how to do cards with the icons. You could call this an icon or an avatar. This can be a good case, a use case for an avatar, but avatars you could find them circular. We shall also do some avatars with the time. So how to do icons, how to style cards. Yeah, that's what we did today. Not much more. How to do some titles for sections. So this one method of centering everything, just the title and some description is centered. And the other method is you will find the title on the left here, not centered. What is that? I'll just get rid of that, get rid of this, get rid of that. Yeah, you will find some titles written like this. They are not centered, but they are just there somewhere. For our case, we centered. Yeah. So if there are no other questions, I believe we shall end it here and maybe catch on tomorrow. So that's about the homepage and the contact us page. See, tuko sawa. I'll end it here.